So I occasionally get asked, where did superheroes really begin? And you can talk about mythology and folklore, but to me, those are influences. That's not really the start of superhero genre. It's a prototype, it's an inspiration, not quite there. Demigods such as Hercules, heroes like Gilgamesh, they didn't have a cover identity, they didn't have a dual identity, and there was no costume aspect to them. They don't ascribe to a higher ideal of justice or avenging the innocent. They'll go on specific quests. They'll take down something that happens right in front of them if they see injustice. But they're not really going out looking for it. They're not on monitor duty. They're not on patrol. As time goes on, you've also got characters like Robin Hood, and he definitely has aspects similar to a superhero, but he's still not quite there. Robin Hood is not someone else secretly who then goes out as Robin Hood at night. He's Robin Hood. Maybe he had another life before, but he doesn't exist in that life anymore. He is now this guy living in the forest with his merry men, probably a few women, and they're out there fighting the man. If we really want to talk about where the superhero genre began, where you have a distinctive outfit, maybe it's a costume, maybe it's just distinctive, a dual identity of some sort, living in an exaggerated world where people can wear outfits and costumes and masks and not immediately be insane, and have oftentimes some kind of recognizable seal and dedicate themselves to justice and altruism. That genre, that idea of the superhero, I really think starts with the prototype, the Scarlet Pimpernel, who starred in a play and a book of the same name by Baroness Emma Orczy. The Scarlet Pimpernel is basically about this guy, Sir Percy Blakeney, who's a baronet, and he, and along with some friends, decide that they're going to stop people who are being unjustly killed in France during the Revolution. He and his agents used his old family seal, the Scarlet Pimpernel, as a literal calling card. And so this myth began about there being a guy out there, the Scarlet Pimpernel, and he's a master of disguise and everything. So you've almost got it to the superhero level. There's the dual identity aspect. During the day now, he continues to play as a fop and as this bored playboy. Even his own wife is fooled for a while. And really, he's the Scarlet Pimpernel. He's dangerous, and he's intelligent, and he's strategic. But he don't have the costume yet, or even a mask. But he's so close, and he opens the door to the superhero genre. And through that door, the first guy to walk out is Dr. Syn, the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. Debuting in 1915, Russell Thorndike created Dr. Syn as a reverend who had once been a pirate. And when his parishioners are being persecuted in Romney Marsh, he dons a scarecrow costume and convinces people that he's a supernatural creature, and he leads this double life between being Reverend Dr. Christopher Syn and this terrifying scarecrow. He would dress up as a demonic scarecrow and operate at night. He had this black horse. He worked with a witch, and he convinced people that he was a supernatural entity. And so we actually finally have here, in literature, the first costumed vigilante, the first costumed adventurer, who has a true double identity. And a few years after his first appearance, Dr. Syn was followed by Zorro in Curse of the Capistrano, which was later retitled The Mark of Zorro. And Don Diego de la Vega was very much like the Scarlet Pimpernel, pretended to be an effete snob. He was sort of a nobleman, just this bored playboy, but really he's a swordsman, he's smart, he's a strategist, he's a physical fighter, and he's fighting oppression, he's trying to help people, he dresses all in black, and you've also got him, though, unlike the Scarecrow, who was terrifying everyone and making himself seem like a demon, Zorro's kind of charming. He's a tough guy, but he's kind of a ladies' guy, and so we're starting to see that there can be different flavors of superheroes. We've got Lone Ranger in 1933. 3 years later, we've got his grandnephew, the Green Hornet. In comic strips, we have the Phantom, the first vigilante character to wear a distinctive costume that was skin tight. You've got the Shadow. You've got Doc Clark Savage. In Japan in the early 30s, you've got the Golden Bat, who's a god that winds up in the modern world and starts meting out justice with a cape. And you've got all these things, but there are still a couple of threads where, along with being escapist fiction, there's also a little bit of that fantasy of aspiration, where Scarlet Pimpernel, Green Hornet, even the Lone Ranger, certainly the Shadow, are all independently wealthy. So there's this escapist fantasy. And that all changes when, just as we're leaving the Depression and about to enter World War II, the genre took its next big step in 1938 when Superman came out. And Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster made this character who had incredible power, more power than the previous guys. Superman has a skin-tight, bright, colorful outfit, this big shield on his chest, taking the calling card of the Scarlet Pimpernel and Zorro's Z to a whole new extreme, a cape, and yet countering all that, he has a job. He has a boss. He has to worry about keeping his job at times. He has to worry about taking off friends at work because he can't explain everything. And that truly became the first superhero in a whole new fashion, and he inspired the whole new wave of comic book superheroes. But if we go back to where did it really begin, where did it leave myth and folklore and those ideas and start becoming its own thing, then I still say we start with the Scarlet Pimpernel. And if we say Baroness Orczy started the superhero genre, that she made the prototype from which superheroes sprang, why are we still talking about, well, we can't pander to geek girls and we can't pander to women because this is a male genre? Why did we even start that debate in the first place?